Ladies and gentlemen out there, this is Artie Lang. This is disgusting. Everybody's too nice now. We're all so nice, aren't we? But the thing is, we're not nice. Secretly, we're mean. That's essentially the show. It is funny. I cannot be a bigger just blob of nothingness and negativity. Party time. You want to get a little limbo dance going? Come on, I'll do it. The third person at the table was the bottom of my stomach. With hair and paleness and stretch marks. American nightmare. Weight like a spider. And this talks about every controversial subject you can imagine.
Shock jock Artie Lang on Media Day. Can't be with that sweet stuff. Nah.
Smack the sugar right out of you. Hey, welcome to the Artie Quitter Podcast. I'm eating sushi. Yeah, that's right. I'll look right in the eye of this fucking storm and go, fuck you. Fuck you!
It's a very progressive stance.
I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit about the fucking weather. These pussies on CNN and Fox News are all making everybody in a panic here. Calm the fuck down. Dan explained it to me. That's how you get old people to watch. That's what happens. You get old people to watch because you scare them. You scare them. My mother could not be more scared of this fucking storm. She's like texting me, the worst storm of all time. Worst storm ever. Do you have enough supplies? All of a sudden, I'm in like on the South Pole in an igloo or something. Do you have flashlight? Do you have D batteries? No. It'll stop snowing in 10 hours. I'm not going to need a D battery between now and when it stops fucking snowing. I'm spitting sushi all over my goddamn microphone. Joe Matarese is in here because he's a pussy. No, Joe, of course, with a family. What a work ethic on this kid.
Joe's working hard.
Joe's tweeting stuff before he tells us about it. Joe, we find out on Twitter whether or not Joe's making it into work. He tweets out, well, snow's not going to let me make it to the Artie Quitter Podcast. Tune in to Fixing Joe when I talk about not making it to the Artie Quitter Podcast. Every one of his Fixing Joe podcasts are linked to this podcast. Anyway, I miss Joe. He's a funny motherfucker, but he never gets here. I guess the snow, I guess he watched CNN and the snow, really, really scared him.
I think snow scares white people more than black people.
Why is that?
I don't know. I think black people just like, fuck it. I got shit to do. You know what I mean?
You do have shit to do or you don't have shit to do?
If you don't have shit to do,
you're going against the stereotype there.
I mean, I feel like we don't go out in the rain, but snow we go out in. It's because we don't like feeling wet. Like,
really?
Yeah, it's that whole like when your shit gets wet, you're like, but snow, you can kind of brush that off. You walk in.
Chris Cotton is here making a racial analogy.
Joe's a bitch, man, because he's white and he's scared of snow. Is that a?
I'm here, of course.
Can I quote that?
I just had to come from my bedroom, but I'm here.
He was late.
I'm being self-righteous.
Late from the bedroom.
I'm being self-righteous now. I'm going to be like, because I just have to go 10 feet, I'm going to piss on other people for not making it. Come on, I made it. Here's a dog. My sister was here and her car broke down. And so that's outside. It's going to be under snow soon.
Yeah,
it is snowing. That's the big news here in New York, that it's snowing like crazy.
This just in, snows everywhere. Go in the house, stay there.
Yeah, it's snowing like crazy, and but we're here. We're here doing this. Anyway, I see all this stuff. Bob Kraft is really catching a lot of shit. I was just listening to Mike Francesa, and Kraft is catching a lot of shit for what's going on here now, Deflategate and stuff. And, they think the Pats get away with everything. And Patriot fans will defend these people. That's all they do is defend them. They don't want to hear anything about facts or anything like that. They're saying the weather. That's the latest thing. Belichick said the weather is the thing that made the balls deflate, but all of the Colts balls didn't deflate. So how does science wish that away? It doesn't make any sense. Clearly something nefarious happened here on the part of the Pats. And if you're a really hardcore Stern fan, you know this story, but I think a lot of the people who subscribe to the podcast don't know about this. I'll give you my Bob Kraft story, and it's a great one. I was on the Stern Show, and I was doing stand-up on the road a lot. And I got a call from Tim Sabian, the general manager of the show, and he said that the head muckety-mucks at Sirius, Mel Karmazin, said that Bob Kraft, the owner of the Patriots, wants you to do stand-up for him as a surprise for his kid's 40th birthday party. His kid, his youngest son, is a big fan of the Stern Show and of yours, Artie, and Bob Kraft thinks it would be a great gift for his 40th surprise birthday party if I went up there and did stand-up. This is how rich people just...
This sounds like a ball of fun.
Well, you could just, they just own you. Like you become a gift. I became like something you wrap and stuff in a stocking. I became a gift.
Did they make you eat your way out of a cake? Or?
No, none of that. I would have liked that, but that wasn't the case. So they said, look, they'll send a private jet, and they will, let you go up there on the patch jet, and you get up there, I'll give you a full tour of his estate. And then you go and you do a half an hour of stand-up at the party, and he's not going to know you're there until we bring you out. So I said, what a great situation. And I'm telling this story. It's relevant to me because Kraft is a smooth motherfucker, man. This guy, I don't know what happened here, but Kraft is the kind of guy. If he wants something, he gets it. Like a lot of rich people, but he's extra smooth to me. That's why I think if he wanted deflated balls, if his boy Tom Brady said, look, I want deflated balls, his boy Tom Brady's getting deflated balls. He's like his son. What do you want, buddy? You want deflated balls? Fine. You want us to spy on them with a camera in the upper deck of the bleachers? Fine. What do I got to do? What check do I got to sign? What mountains do I have to move? Okay.
So how many dead bodies do you think Bob Kraft has?
I'm not saying anything like that because I love the man. The man was amazing to me, and I just think he's a cool motherfucker. So I just don't know exactly what's going on here. I would just say that Bob, let's just say, gets what he wants. So. I asked him, I said, one thing I asked him, my two uncles, my Uncle Bruce and my Uncle Tommy, they're huge football fans. They've never been on a private jet. Could they come on the jet? And he said, absolutely, no problem. And Baba Booey, Gary at the Stern Show, of course, weaseled his way in. He said, well, I'll come and I'll introduce you. And I said, well, I don't need somebody to introduce me, but fine, if you want to come, that's fine. So Gary... much like he did with my Afghanistan trip, all of a sudden was introducing us, doing 3 minutes of jokes, and then I had to do the whole half hour. So we get on a private jet. We had to go to Teterboro. So it's me, Baba Booey, and my Uncle Tommy and my Uncle Bruce. And this smoking hot waitress on the private jet, smoking hot, really like stripper hot, nice tan, really beautiful. And this private jet that the Pats have is, I've been lucky enough to have been on about 14 or 15 private jets. I've been able to weasel my way on here.
That's it?
Well, I've been able to do that about 14 or 15. Quincy Jones got me on my first private jet. I'll never forget that conversation. That conversation was great. We were in New York, and he was producing Mad TV. This is in the mid-'90s, and he said, how you getting back to L.A., man? This is Christmas break. And I said, I have a plane ticket. I'm not hitchhiking. He goes, man, fuck that. We got the wings. Right out of a Sinatra book.
We got the
right
wings.
Out of a Sinatra, short story. He goes, we got the wings, baby. Like something Sinatra, Dean Martin would say, or Sammy Davis. I go, what do you mean the wings? He goes, the private jet, man. I got Warner Brothers to give us the jet. So we got one of the Warner Brothers private jets, and I sat there with Khadijah Jones, his oldest daughter with Peggy Lipton, Rashida's older sister, who's adorable. And it was me, Khadijah, Quincy, and one of his accountants, one of his 4 million accountants. That's who was on the jet. Gourmet Chinese food, and we flew from L.A. to New York. And I started talking with Khadijah, but she got bored with that conversation in about 2 minutes. And as soon as we got off the tarmac, at LaGuardia, we left from LaGuardia, we landed in Burbank. As soon as we got off the tarmac, she called on the phone, God knows what that costs, a friend of hers in Bel Air, and was making plans for that night when she landed. So she was on the phone for like 3.5 hours on the plane phone. So God knows what that costs.
How long did the flight take? You said
it's flight to L.A. So it took about 5 hours and 45 minutes. Cool. 5 hours 45, something like that. In a private jet, it's a little quicker.
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
Yeah, you move a little quicker.
I mean, my private jet experience is a little bit less than yours, meaning none.
Well, listen, I was about your age when I got on my first one, so it'll happen.
I'm gonna Baba Booey my way onto one of these private jet experiences.
Yeah, well, that's a good way to put it. So and again, Howard, very generous. Howard Stern, he got me on a couple of jets out to Vegas and back. But this, I'm telling you, this Patriots jet was about as nice as a private jet could be. It was a 14-seater, and it had the red, white, and blue Patriots colors, which is something I didn't really
like.
Yeah,
I mean,
listen, I'm a Giant fan, and the one difficult thing about the whole situation was I was on the Patriots jet. And believe me, I have friends who are Giant fans who still give me shit. You're a pussy. You're a traitor. You shouldn't have been on the... Yeah, like you would have turned it down, asshole. You're big enough of a Giant fan you would have turned down going on the Pats
Fuck
jet.
you, Kraft.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm not going, Bob. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take the Acela train. I'll take the train up to fucking Boston. I'll sit in traffic on 95. You keep your jet. Are you kidding me?
Keep your jet and suck a dick.
Yeah, you kidding me? I got right on that Patriots jet, right on. I would have worn a Tony Eason jersey if you wanted me to. So me and my uncles get on the jet with the hot waitress, with Baba Booey. We fly up there in a private jet. A big SUV Escalade limo picks us up at the airport in Boston and drives us out to Brookline, Massachusetts, which is where a lot of the heavy hitters live. And we got to Kraft's estate. And oh my God, man. Oh my God, just a sick, huge mansion on acres and acres of land. Put it this way, his backyard, they have a barbecue every year and they play a full scrimmage game. The offense plays the defense. It is in his backyard.
You talking about these are the real
Patriots.
Pats?
Yeah, the real Pats. Yeah, they play. So there was a huge cocktail party before the son, who the birthday party was for, got there. Huge cocktail party. And again, he knows nothing about this. He was told a certain time. So they give us a tour of the whole house.
I'm guessing you were in golf carts.
Well, yeah, for part of it.
Yeah.
We were for part of it. And it was a big cocktail hour. And his oldest son gave us a tour of his office. And they gave us a couple of game balls that were used in the Super Bowl.
How was it, inflation on them?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They were a little soft. This is relevant because the game ball I have, it's still in my office, that Bob Kraft got me, that all of the Pats signed, is a little soft. It's a little soft. So Deflategate started way back then.
Don't go busting my balls, Billy, okay?
So he gave me, we take a picture with the game ball from the Super Bowl, and again, it's they signed it, all the Patriots, and then they say, okay, now you have to go in the basement and hide. Again, I was a Christmas gift. I was not a human being. I was a thing. I was, The other thing they asked me to do at Sirius, they said, listen, whatever you do, don't charge them any money, because corporate gigs, you could charge quite a bit of money. Mm-hmm. I've made up to 50, 75 grand for some of these gigs. And he's like, please don't charge him. We do a lot of business with him. And I said, I would never think of it. I'll do it as a favor to Mr. Kraft. And listen, the private jet experience, the whole thing, meeting him, the game ball, that's more than enough. I don't care. I'm certainly not going to charge the guy. So it was supposed to be for free. So we go,
where's my 200 fucking bucks?
Yeah, right, exactly. So we go downstairs and we're waiting there. Me, my uncles, and Baba Booey were waiting there, and we're looking downstairs at the gym. He has a private gym in his house, and all the memorabilia down there. And then after about an hour of waiting, they come down and they get me, and they say, "Okay, we're ready for you." So my uncles go up first because he doesn't know who they are. Baba Booey goes up, and then Kraft introduces me, and you see the kid see me, and I'm like, please let him be excited, because this will be a bust if he doesn't really give a shit. Mm-hmm. I hope they're not lying to me. But the kid was very moved by it. It was cool. And Baba Booey did his 2 minutes and and introduced me. And I went up and I probably ended up doing about 45 minutes. I must say it killed. He said, you're allowed to be rated R, and it killed. what a sense of humor Bob Kraft has, because I was being blue. And again, I asked if I could be blue, and I was goofing on the food, I was goofing on the people there, I was goofing on the estate, I was goofing on the Pats a little bit, being a Giant fan. They had just lost to the Giants, I think, the year before in a tough Super Bowl. I made jokes about that, if you could believe it. And he was fine with everything. And it really killed. I got like a standing ovation. It's one of the best I've ever done at a corporate private gig. And the kid afterwards gave me a big hug. We took pictures with him. It was his 40th birthday, like I say. And he could not have been happier. It really made me feel good. Because this guy, Kraft, he's a warm guy. You know, I got to meet his wife, who has since passed away. She was just a class act, a wonderful woman. And they were all just so super nice to me, including him. And, you know, so I must say, I can't fully defend what's going on here. I think something nefarious went on. But Bob Kraft, in my book, is a good man. And he's the kind of guy who gets shit done, which is another reason I think something happened here. Does my boy want softer balls? You're getting softer balls. You want to get spied on? You want me to spy on? You want Daddy to spy on the other team? Daddy's going to spy on the other team for you. I don't care what it costs. And that's what he did. You want a fat comedian from the Stern Show to do a half an hour stand-up for your birthday? Guess what? That fat comedian's coming here. He doesn't have a fucking choice.
So you think that all the balls come straight through Kraft? They had to come through Kraft's office.
I don't know if they came straight through Kraft. What I do know is this. I think he probably made stuff happen if he needed to. One of those ball boys is probably going to have a brand new Bentley. Which that's what we have to look at.
Which he doesn't know he has to pay taxes on. He'll end up losing.
No, I'm sure Kraft will take care of the taxes too. Everything will be fine. So at the end of the night, and here's the creme de la creme. Here's why Kraft is a class act. A lot of people in his position would have said, yeah, you know what? That's enough. The private jet, he got a full tour. We gave him a game ball. He took pictures, blah, blah, blah. I got on, it was a Wednesday, by the way. I had to be at work the next morning at 6. So we left the estate, and I got right back in the limousine and right back to the private jet. Mm-hmm. And they flew me home. I got home by 10 o'clock. I was in bed by 11, and I was at work the next day by 6 in the morning. But here's the thing. Right as we're leaving Kraft's house, he comes up to me and Gary and hands us envelopes. And I said, listen, I don't want to take anything. He goes, no, I insist. You have to take this. Kraft hands us both envelopes. And I said, thank you very much. This wasn't necessary. So I put it in my pocket. Mm-hmm. We get on the jet, and I couldn't wait any longer. Me and my uncles, we ripped open the envelope. Gary didn't rip open his. It was, take a guess, Chris, what it was for. He wrote me a check as extra payment. Take a guess what it was for.
I'm going to go $25,000.
James, do you know this answer?
I can't remember exactly the number, but I think it was more than that.
Okay. 20 grand.
Oh, okay.
I was close.
20 G's. Well, you ruined the fucking story because you made it more.
I took a real guess.
Now he looks like a cheap fuck.
You piece of shit. You could have paid more.
But here's the thing. I would have got more if Gary didn't do 3 minutes.
How much did Gary get?
I don't know. To this day, it pisses me off. Gary, who wasn't invited, who asked me if he could go.
Oh, yeah. I'm definitely
Gary he wasn't invited. I love Gary, but to this day, I harbor resentment.
Not only will I get Baba Boy money, but I also get he's black money. So I need a couple of.
I don't think he's gonna get any of that. I don't think he cares about the black white issue.
Fuck.
But no. So I probably would have got, if Gary got the full 20 like me. That really pissed me off. But Gary wouldn't say it. He's too professional.
Fuck Gary.
I'm like, what the fuck, man?
If he got really $200, either way, he wins. He got to do.
He wins. Believe me,
he got
wins.
the full ride, no matter what. So
I mean, because Kraft might not even know what the check is for. He just told somebody cut a check, and there's 2 guys from the Stern Show got up there. Give them both checks.
And no one understands the concept of, okay, he did 3, he did 30.
I don't think so.
So they probably was like, they both worked. Here,
no, I don't think they understand that concept at all.
So Gary probably got 20 G's too.
I'm just saying that out loud. But anyway, so my uncles looked at the check, and I'm like, what an amazing man. What a great, classy guy. Because even a billionaire would have said, listen, that's enough. The jet, everything's enough. But on top of it, here's what he realized. Here's a guy who probably came from nothing and made it on his own. But here's what I realized about him. he's definitely a guy who understands the blue collar mind, because he's like, okay, look, a private jet, blah, 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 but that's not money in your pocket. This is what this guy does for a living. Mm-hmm. This guy does stand-up comedy for a living. That's how he makes his money. So I'm going to be a pompous ass if I don't give him extra money. That's something that would be wrong.
That's tip money, though, for him.
Whatever. I mean, he just realizes, whether it's tip money or not, it's just great that he realizes that I probably should be getting paid because it's what I do for a living. It's a weeknight. I had to get back. I usually tried to get to bed earlier than 11 o'clock. I had to get up at 4:30 in the morning to do the Stern Show. Of course, this was pre-heroin, which ruins everything. But I'll tell you what. I really, a lot of rich people can forget that blue collar mindset. Mm-hmm. A lot of them can forget it. But Kraft didn't. He gave me a check. And of course, Gary got a fucking check. I mean, when I say he did 3 minutes, he did 3 minutes. And I did about 45. So, I mean, proportionally, he should have got about $50.
I mean, how did you call him? Like, did you ask him?
No, ask him. Ask him
Gary.
About what?
The check. Did you ask him?
Yeah, he wouldn't tell me because he knows I'll probably want to strangle him. Oh, that aggravates the shit out of me. To this day, every time I bring it up, I'm like, Gary if he got the full 20 grand, man, I could have been 40 G's in my pocket. Anyway, so Bob Kraft under a lot of fire these days. So I'm telling that story for a couple of reasons. One is to tell you that he's a class act. This is not a man you should hate. He's a good man. He's a good man. But he owns a football team, and he's a gamesman, and he probably wants every advantage that he can get. Who knows whether he knew about this or not? Maybe the buck with the football stuff stops at Belichick. Maybe only Belichick knew. But if Kraft was asked by the guys to do something like this, I'm sure he would have participated. And almost like with a wink and a smile, like, yeah, let's do it. Because, again, it's gamesmanship. And every coach and every general manager and every owner plays that way. They all look for an edge. So if something nefarious went on, do I believe it? Do I believe that he might have done something that could have been classified as cheating? Yes. Do I hate him for it? No. Because I happen to have personal knowledge, based on the story I just told you, that he's a great man.
I mean, let's be honest. If you're going to cheat, I mean, that's low-level cheating shit is fucking deflating some balls.
Well, it depends. And that's the other question now. A lot of people like Francesa today was really all over him. And, Francesa's a big, giant supporter, and he's a Pats hater. You could tell that. Mm-hmm. You can. And, I'm a fan of Francesa, even though he busts his balls. I'm a fan of Francesa. But he will not hear any of it. When Pats fans call up his show, he just like, fuck you. Something bad happened here. And he is saying something that I think is true, that the league has become patsies. They become patsies for the Patriots. Mm-hmm. Patsies for the Pats. They're the Yankees of football. And what they want, they get. And, you're talking about the biggest event, not just in sports, but the biggest event in the world, the biggest media event on the planet. For advertisers on Madison Avenue, for sports, for television, for everything. Every single thing.
I feel like they're unofficially America's new team. Like they like in the inner circle. Like, I mean, Dallas, America's team. I remember when that game happened between them and the Niners because it was up for a toss back in the day. But I mean, that has nothing to do with it. But
yeah,
I got to bring my Niners up. But either way, I feel like the Pats, like you said, they get a pass and they get.
Well, the Dallas Cowboys were hated. They were hated by a lot of people.
They still are.
They were loved by a lot of people. They were hated by a lot of people for that America's team moniker. But guess what? I agree with you. There's a new America's team, and it's the Patriots. It's the Patriots, and it's Tom Brady with his model looks and his Giselle Bundchen
face.
Yeah, his face that you just want to punch with a fungo bat. They're the new America's team, and Bob Kraft owns them. And that's the story of him owning me for an afternoon.
And you felt like America's comedian at that point.
I loved it. I would do it again. I would do it again in a heartbeat. And it was a lot of fun. Flippin', what do you think of the Patriots? You're a big sports guy. What do you think of the Pats and this whole situation?
I mean, I don't know. The situation is tough to get a figure on because, like you said, how much of a difference does the deflation really make? You know, the fact that it was a blowout game,
right,
I think should factor in somewhat. But the only thing is, you know, people point to that and say, oh, if it was the Baltimore game, it'd be a big deal. How do we know it wouldn't have been closer if not for the fact that the balls were deflated? Because, you know, somebody made a really interesting point yesterday. I was working at NFL Radio over the weekend, and somebody said, you know, Ben-Jarvis Green Ellis, remember that guy? They called him a law firm?
Sure.
Never fumbled when he was a member of the Patriots. Okay. Never fumbled.
And they think deflated balls
goes to the Bengals and fumbles like 5 times in his first year with the Bengals.
Interesting.
And LeGarrette Blount had a huge day as a running back for the Patriots in the AFC Championship game. You know, it's a lot easier to carry a softer ball.
Coincidence? I think not.
And this is the thing. Everybody wants to believe it's not a coincidence because of the Spygate stuff, because Belichick's kind of shady, and everybody knows Brady would, you know, walk over his own mother to get a win. People believe the hype.
Well, are they hated the way the Cowboys and Yankees were at some point? I mean, the Yankees
I think
still
so.
are.
Yeah.
Are the Pats hated like that?
It's not quite to the same extent because the they need another like decade on top, and then it'll be just as bad as. I don't think anything will be. You know, the Yankees are in a different class, but the Cowboys.
Thank you.
No problem. But the Cowboys definitely. You know, they're kind of approaching that because you know I feel like people were rooting for the Cowboys this year. They were kind of like the.
I can never do that.
Well, not me because I'm a Giants fan.
Well, me neither. I'm a Giant fan too. It's hard. It's very difficult. Very difficult to root for the Patriots. Listen, I had friends who were telling me not to get on a private jet because that said Patriots on it.
I mean, I think that I don't know. I think personally they're hated as much as I hate them as much as
by a lot of
Dallas,
people. By a lot of people, yeah.
And then the Patriots. That's the level of hate.
Yeah.
I went on the Twitter rant for about 10 minutes of saying how I want Belichick beat in the alley. That was the dream I wanted him to get his ass whipped in the alley in Boston.
Well, you don't want that.
I mean, I don't know.
Let's not incite that. You can get in trouble.
You're right. I don't want Belichick to get hurt. I don't want him to get hurt, but I want him to cartoonishly get an ass whipping.
you know, if that really happened, though, you could be arrested.
I'm fucked. You say that?
Yeah, you don't want him to get beaten now. But you know, I think Belichick is a guy that doesn't seem to give a shit about what people think about him. That's the truth. And you know, that type of attitude aggravates people. It really does. It really does. So that's that. I think we're going to see. Some more fallout from this. The Patriots want it to go away. It's not going to go away.
I told you. Remember day one you said you thought it was going to be washed right under the rug. I mean, pushed right under the rug. And I told you, people. It's something to complain about. That's what's hot now. Complaining.
The guy in Vegas, Avello, thought it was no big deal. But again, you're talking about this media. Now, media day is tomorrow, and I mean, it's going to be hard to watch everybody on the Patriots. And by the way. And the Seattle Seahawks, they're going to be dominated with these questions too. Absolutely. You know, it's going to be hard to watch the Pats squirm. Belichick's got to sit there for an hour. Brady's got to sit there for an hour. And they're going to get pounded. I mean, I've been to a couple of these media days. I got thrown out of them.
For what? What did you get thrown out for?
I asked Chris Culliver on the Niners if he had any gay guys on the 49ers. And he went on a huge rant about how he didn't like gay people, and it was the second biggest story of the week.
But you were thrown out?
No, well, at the end, and then the next year I wasn't allowed to go.
Fuck.
But they thought I was trying to bait him, which I wasn't, by the way. Flippin', you leaving?
Yeah, I gotta go.
All right. Well,
all right, Flip.
What happened?
I'm going to Mad Dog Radio. Chris Russo.
You doing Mad Dog? Yeah. Tell Chris I said hi. I love the Mad Dog. Well, we'll take a break then. When we come back, we got some phone calls. A lot of people have been asking on Twitter about my buddy John Ritchie and how that all ended at DirecTV. It didn't end bad at all. I love John. As a matter of fact, John is going to call in the next segment. John Ritchie, my old partner, the former Eagle, the former Raider, played in 2 Super Bowls. He'll be calling in. I love John. He's going to give us his very, very street cred opinion about this Deflategate and the Super Bowl and everything else. And maybe we'll play some voicemails. We'll have some fun. Until then, this is the Artie Quitter Podcast. John.
Hi.
What's up, man?
Well, just kicking it in the snow. Did you guys get hit?
Where are you, in Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
How you been, man?
Pretty good. Pretty busy, which is good, I guess.
Good. Absolutely.
For me.
Always good.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome back to the Artie Quitter podcast. What's going on? James Flippin not behind the dish anymore. He was here. He had a run. He's working on Mike and the Mad Dog. Or just the Mad Dog. They don't have Mike anymore. Those two had a falling out and won a radio avalanche of trouble. And speaking of people who I had falling out with, John Ritchie's on the phone. No, of course not. A lot of people love drama. People love drama. Yeah. But John Ritchie is on the phone. John was my co-host. For how long were we together, John?
A year.
A year, full year. John's a good man.
Yeah.
John brought street cred to the show because he played in 2 Super Bowls, one for the Eagles and one for the Raiders. And he was in a somewhat famous one because of the controversy where one of his teammates went nuts on the Raiders.
Yeah.
Your center.
Those were the days.
Your center apparently had some sort of cocktail of pills and thought the game had already been played the day before the game.
Yeah.
What is the story? What is the story about that?
Barrett Robbins, he was our center. He made the Pro Bowl that year. He was, a friend of mine and a friend, a great center.
Right.
And the Friday night before the game, my wife, who I wasn't married to, she was my fiance at that time, said, I saw Barrett leaving the family hotel as I was walking in. What's up with that? You guys were already checked down in curfew mode and all that, and Barrett's just sauntering off in the direction of Mexico.
So wait, you were playing where, in L.A. or San Diego?
No, this game was the Super Bowl was San Diego that year.
So Mexico, just a stone's throw away to Tijuana.
Yeah.
And so this is 48 hours before kickoff.
Well, that was So that's Friday night, less than 48 hours before kickoff. And the next morning, we do a walkthrough at the stadium, and the way that walkthrough starts out is the head coach says, "All right, huddle up the offense." And the way that's done is the center calls the offensive huddle. And so no one called the huddle. We were all just still standing around. and it dawned on everyone, holy crap,
But no one knew.
Not here.
No one knew that until he had to call the huddle?
You'd be surprised.
No one knew he was gone?
No, not that I'm aware of, because you got a lot of guys loading onto a bus.
Yeah.
Everyone's wearing the same jumpsuit because we're doing a team picture that morning as well.
Which he wasn't in.
No.
Yeah.
But I know it's a lot of guys, but you're talking about the guy who, until he touches the ball, the game doesn't start.
Yeah.
He initiates the plays.
He was really good too, and I believe. And I don't know for sure, but I believe his absence is what caused us to veer from our game plan that we'd been putting in all week that was different than anything we'd done all year.
You think you would have won the game if it wasn't for him not being there?
Oh, I mean...
It's a different game.
No, it would have been a different game, that's for sure, because they knew what we were doing in the passing game. Gruden knew what Rich's preferences were.
Right.
You could hear the guys on that side of the ball calling out the plays verbatim when they were coming up to the line of scrimmage. They knew what was coming. And that's what would have made it so beautiful had we stuck with our game plan, which was a real departure from the pass-heavy offense we've been using all year long. Rich Gannon was the MVP of the league that year.
Right.
And we were going to go, 2 backs, 2 or more tight ends, and get heavy and just slam the ball down their throats. And we did that one time. And you think that would have worked? Game plan, we did one play.
And you think that would have worked, shoving it down their throats? That would have worked.
I do. I mean, we were a bigger group than they were. They're similar to the Seattle defense this year as far as just lateral mobility goes, of really fast defense that we all believed could be run over because they were smallish. Small, quick guys who couldn't stand in against guys pulling and kicking them out. The mano-a-mano stuff they weren't as good at.
So what? Listen, this brings me to a good point. Gruden basically knew what was going on, knew your whole game plan.
Yeah.
And now, what is that? I mean, do you think that's like? Do you think that's a form of cheating?
No.
It's not. It's just having knowledge. It's just sort of bad luck on your part.
Yeah. It as it stands, football is not. It's not rocket science. Offensive football, when you're dealing with a West Coast offense, which is what we ran, and he understands and knows like the back of his hand. I mean, he knows the plays. He knows what works against what coverages. He knows what to expect, especially because he had fine-tuned Rich Gannon into just a machine that was similar to a Peyton Manning in a lot of respects. Peyton Manning wasn't the Peyton he is now back then, but he was still kind of like a robot. You put in a whole bunch of info and values, and he spits back out the perfect play for the perfect situation.
Yeah.
That's what Rich could do, and they kind of tantalized us with looks we thought we could capitalize on, and then, of course, they knew what was coming.
All right, so that brings me to...
Can I ask a question before we get off of this?
Yeah.
Did you, and after him taking the cocktail, I got a question. Did y'all win the game in his mind, or did y'all lose? That's what I want to know.
We lost. We lost by a lot.
I know y'all lost the game. I remember that game. I was saying the same thing. Y'all should have pounded the ball. But I want to know, in his delusion, did y'all win or lose? Oh,
Barrett. I believe he thought that we'd won, and he was celebrating.
Yeah, that's what I figured. He was going to Mexico to celebrate. All right, I just need to know that.
Celebrating the win. But apparently he had gone off his bipolar meds.
Not a good thing for a senator to do.
Sometime in all the excitement between winning the AFC Championship game and rushing down there, because that was a year that there was only 1 week between the conference championships and the Super Bowl.
I can't believe that happened. I can't believe that happened. I mean, with all the bullshit that goes on,
I'm not going to lie to you.
I can't believe it. I can't believe they even got away with 1 week. I mean, that was a lot of preparation, media stuff.
Yeah, it was too fast, and that's why they have, they've committed to not doing it anymore. It takes away from something that those guys deserve to have the chance to enjoy that opportunity, and you can't do it when you only have a week.
Well, the NFL's just an empire, and they figured out, now they play the Pro Bowl the week before, which is the worst sporting event ever. The under-over was 77 in that, so it wasn't. It turned out to be 60 points, 32-28. Does one of your kids have a hacking cough?
Yeah, she's trying to infest all of us with it as well. She's this one's 4. She just turned 4. We have our son just turned 10, and our middle kid is 7. Marlo's 7. So they're growing up. They still refer to you as Uncle Artie.
Yeah,
Artie.
well, you got great kids. They're smart kids. I remember how smart they are.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Okay, so let's talk about, we talked about gamesmanship, cheating. What's your take on this Deflategate? Are we blowing this out of proportion?
I think it's overblown, but at the same time, it is absolutely the quarterback's responsibility to have those balls prepared the way he likes them. Mm-hmm. And when Tom Brady came out in that press conference on Friday and said, I did nothing to those balls to alter them in any way, yeah, he was telling the truth. He told someone else to alter the balls in the way that he preferred. You hear about Bill Belichick at practices, he's dousing the balls that they use in water. He's getting them muddied up. He's making them as ungrippable as possible. And then you hear Tom Brady's name thrown around as the best quarterback in the history of the NFL when games are under 40 degrees. The way that they practice, the way that they prepare, all the minute details, that's what makes them so good. Mm-hmm. And I guarantee somewhere along the way, Tom at practice or during a game in the cold said, when this ball's a little bit flatter, I can actually grip it. When you look at the fumble numbers of that team under Belichick and Brady, it's almost impossible how little they have fumbled through the years in inclemency. There is something to this. They flattened the balls. And remember, earlier this year, Week 11, Mike Adams, the safety for the Colts, intercepted 2 Tom Brady passes. He kept the balls, gave them to his equipment guy on the sideline, and at that point in time, everyone was feeling those balls and saying, these things are flat. That's a real problem. So before this conference championship game, the AFC championship, the NFL basically knew that they were going to check those balls extra carefully because they had this tip from the Colts already, who they were playing again in the conference championship game, that the balls were altered. And they didn't tip the Patriots off and say, hey, make sure you get this straight because we're going to check them. They went in there. They didn't tell them. They let them catch themselves in this deception. And sure enough, 11 of the 12 Patriots balls were underinflated. And there's a reason for it.
So so it sounds like you're kind of obviously you think the Patriots are to blame here. It doesn't sound like you're that upset about it. Like you think the Patriots should they be punished severely? What should the punishment be for this?
Well, here's where Roger Goodell has kind of painted himself into a corner. Mm-hmm. Sean Payton, the coach of the Saints a couple years back, when that whole Bounty Gate scandal came about, where the defensive coordinator was paying players if they had extra hard hits on certain opponent players. Sean Payton said he didn't know about it. Roger Goodell said ignorance is no excuse. Suspended him for a year without pay, fined him $500,000, and took away a second-round draft pick from the Saints. Then this past offseason, Ray Rice got arrested. No, not even arrested. Mm-hmm. The video of Ray Rice and his girlfriend dragging her out of an elevator came out, and Roger Goodell,
not good for the league.
Roger Goodell basically said he dropped the ball. He did a bad job investigating it, and his ignorance was no excuse. Basically suspended Ray Rice, even though he was acquitted by a judge separate from the NFL. The punishment was still harsh and swift and severe. I think if it is proven that the Patriots had the say on this air removal thing, I think Roger Goodell has to punish Bill Belichick with the same heavy-handedness that he dealt Sean Payton and Ray Rice. The problem is, how are they going to prove that a kid... The problem is the Patriots are in deny mode, and no one's going to say that anyone did anything. They are going to deny this thing till the bitter end, and it's going to be hard for the NFL to come up with concrete proof that someone actually crept in there, snuck in there after the officials checked the balls before the game and let more air out. That's going to be the big hassle. I don't think the NFL can prove it, so I think that the Patriots will once again escape this, for the most part, unscathed.
So we have a laughable situation. You and every other expert, and I can call you an expert. You're a former player. You're an analyst now. You played in the league for 7 years. You and everybody else, Mark Brunell, Troy Aikman, anybody with credibility is saying they without question did something wrong.
Yeah.
But until one of them actually admits to it, or they get someone to talk to the league, they're not going to be punished for it at all.
Right. I think what's more likely for us to see than the Patriots getting busted is some 20-year-old kid on a college campus who is a former New England Patriot equipment trainee assistant, driving around in a new pimped out Escalade on the
that has
college
been said
campus.
numerous times. By us.
On the college campus of his choice this spring.
Yeah, well, I mean, but again, all right, if that happens, any good investigator is going to grill that kid. I mean, do you think they could get one of these kids to talk? I mean, there's people who do that for a living. There's people who sit them down and go, listen, we'll get the truth out of you.
Well, I think it's laughable that they've interviewed over 40 people and Tom Brady hasn't been one of them.
The only guy, the guy who touched the ball.
Again,
it's the guy that everyone knows is responsible indirectly has not been interviewed. So, listen, I think the NFL knows what they have, what they're facing. They're facing an impossible situation to govern, and that's the bottom line. The Patriots get away with murder once again.
Yeah, isn't that the league looks like a bunch of pussies here too? They look like patsies for the Patriots, right? I mean, they've got to stand up and do something here. To talk to Tom Brady, basically that's what they're saying. We're not gonna fuck with our golden boy the week of the game, you know?
Yeah, right.
Or maybe ever, and we're not gonna mess with Belichick, who's the keeper of the golden boy. Bob Kraft, who, entertains Roger Goodell on a regular basis. What do you think of these comments made by Richard Sherman? I love that guy, man. He tells it like it is.
I hate to love Sherman.
Do you think it's a conflict of interest, like he says? Do you think Goodell and Kraft have too close a friendship for that situation?
Yeah, I mean, Richard Sherman basically says what everyone else thinks and is afraid to say. I think he's great for the game. I think he's kind of the conscience, whether guys want to speak their mind or not. I think you can always look to Richard for being straight up. And not only is he just an amazing football player, and I'm not saying that from a biased perspective, he is probably the best cornerback in the NFL. Yeah. He's got this recall, this intelligence that, man, you put up any sort of formation or personnel grouping, and he can tell that entire defense exactly what plays are coming. He's like a Peyton Manning of a defensive side.
Where do you put him on the all-time list for cornerbacks?
Oh man,
work,
well, his numbers match up. Over his first X number of years in the league, his numbers exceed anyone else's in NFL history, I believe. I think part of that has to do with the fact that their teams are passing the ball so much more now,
right,
giving him more opportunities, even though teams don't even test him in a lot of games. I think that he matches up favorably with the all-timers, and his knowledge, his smarts are part of what makes him so good, and those smarts are only growing, so I think he's going to play for a long time, even once his body can't carry him quite as fast as he goes now. His head, his anticipation will always be there helping him out.
Yeah. Do you think he's going to look like a Deion or Champ Bailey when it's all said and done?
Well,
I love them both separately, but I love them both.
No one moves like Deion.
Animal.
I can tell you that from firsthand experience that Deion was just so rare speed-wise. Richard's not fast like that, but he makes up for it. Again, with his anticipation, his knowledge. I think that Richard is much longer than both of those guys. Mm-hmm. He can defend a bigger pass radius with his leaping ability and just the sheer length of his arms and legs. I mean, the guy's really built great to cover receivers, outstretching almost anyone he's going to be matched up against is a real positive.
Well, okay, let's take the Deflategate out of the whole thing. You got a game that's basically a pick 'em. What's your prediction here? I really think the Patriots are going to be. I mean, just because maybe they're sociopaths and don't give a shit about any of this, I think they could put it all behind them, and I think they could win this game pretty easily. I mean, what's your prediction for the game?
Well, I think that the Patriots will win. I do think that it's going to be awesome to watch. Remember last year, no one anticipated that the Seahawks would have such an easy time with Peyton Manning and the Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Seattle defense, while great once again, and they've been especially great since about week 12 of the season when they got their middle linebacker, Bobby Wagner, back, I do think that the Seahawks defense is weaker against the run this year. They lost Brandon Mebane, defensive tackle, who's really stout against run blocking. They lost Red Bryant in free agency, defensive end, who was really great against the run as well. I think that they can be run on. Similarly to with what we were talking about at the beginning of this, when my Raiders went to the Super Bowl against the Bucks, we knew they were swift sideline to sideline, but they probably couldn't hold up if we got north and south and punched them in the mouth with the run game. I think you're going to see that from the Patriots with LeGarrette Blount. They're going to line up and run powers and run ISOs and run G leads right into the teeth of the defense, and that will set up some nice play action, hopefully get the cornerbacks to bite a little bit, opening things up for Tom Brady downfield. I just think that the Patriots are a more balanced team. Their offense is solid. Their defense is better than ever, with Darrelle Revis and Brandon Brown are outside. The Seahawks offense being so one-dimensional, strictly running, because their wide receivers don't get any separation from defensive backs. That's really going to end up costing the Seahawks if they get down in this game. I think the Patriots can win it. Not a blowout, but I do think the Patriots can win convincingly.
Yeah, I think so you I happen to think it could be a blowout. It's obviously Vegas doesn't think so with a pick'em, but I think based on the championship games, the Seahawks defense didn't play like the Seahawks defense, and they showed some chinks in the armor, that's for sure. Meanwhile, the Patriots came out and ran the ball exclusively against the Colts after passing the ball exclusively against the Ravens. They can transform their look and their team on a week-to-week basis. I think the Super Bowl will give them an opportunity to really put everything together, not only offensively being balanced with the run and pass, but to really show off that defense shutting down a passing game. Okay, real quick, we both agree, I think, that the Pats can win this, and I think we both agree that this Deflategate is going to fizzle out, pardon the pun, and nothing might happen. Nothing might happen. It's just going to be very weird. It's a real interesting situation that every expert is saying they did something wrong, and they're just right in your face going, no, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they did do something wrong, but at the same time, I almost applaud Tom Brady for thinking of this. It does make a lot of sense. Let a little air out, help your team grasp the ball better. The stats prove it over Tom Brady's career. They don't fumble the ball when it's cold and wet. I think it's brilliant. I think that the Patriots have shown this year especially that coaching staff, that group that they have there are smarter on both sides of the ball than anyone else in the league. And they get it done because they care about all the little details.
Well, it sounds like you want to bash them, but you work for DirecTV, so you can't.
No.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Listen,
you're a punk.
I'll be the first in line to bash the Patriots. I've got
when you bash the Patriots, you're bashing the NFL. You bash the NFL. You bash DirecTV. You bash DirecTV. You bash Chris Long, and that's not a good thing for you.
No, I want to bash the Patriots, but I admire their approach to football too much.
Because you're a cheater.
We got hosed. I mean, my Eagles team lost to the Patriots when they were taping guys' practices. They were taping our practice, probably.
That is unbelievable. I mean, think about that. You're not still bitter. You're not still bitter over that.
Facts are facts.
Yeah, well, the Tuck Rule game that we absolutely got hosed. I mean, I have a lot of ammunition against these Patriots that I should hate them, but they're just so smart and so good.
Clearly, your kids need health insurance.
Tempers it. What's that?
Clearly, your kids need health insurance, so you're not going to bash them.
Yeah, they do. They do.
I understand. Tom Brady gets away with a lot of crap, and he's married to Gisele Bündchen.
Yeah.
Peyton Manning. Here's a good. Let's get off the Super Bowl for a second because I think we agree with a lot there. Even though I'm the only one with the balls enough to condemn what's going on. Peyton Manning, should he hang him up or what? You think it's over for him?
Well, we found out that the last quarter of the season he was really dealing with some lower body issues, the torn quad, and no, I don't think he should hang him up. I think he should go out when he wants to. Not many guys get that opportunity, get that privilege to hang it up when they see fit. But I think that he's a person. He single-handedly changed the game, and I think that he should allow himself to come back out and play his kind of season, a healthy season for the most part, where he's able to push the ball downfield like he was not able to do this year. He uses his legs and his body to generate torque on the ball more than any other quarterback in the NFL because his arm strength was taken away from him with the neck injury and surgeries. So that quad problem really did affect how much he could put on the ball, and I hated to see it. I think that another year, even with a whole new coaching staff, will allow him to really shine.
Listen, I'm sorry to waste your time with this next question, but I have a producer who's clearly biased. He wants to know about the Bears collapse.
Jesus Christ.
Dan Filato. Jay Cutler. I'll say this about Jay Cutler. I don't know if the pussy he's getting is too good and distracting. Man, does he look like a whiner. He looks like a whiner, man. He doesn't, 100, what do you get, 120 mil, this guy?
Yeah.
I mean, come on, Marv.
Yeah, they made a big mistake signing him to that big deal, and
every Bears fan thinks so.
Now the Bears are trying to find a way out of it, and it looks like where these other quarterbacks that got big deals, Andy Dalton, Colin Kaepernick, teams have these are team-friendly deals that give the team an out if it's not working out with that quarterback. The Bears didn't give themselves that clause in this contract. So
they just went for it all.
Yeah, they're stuck with them, and it's really basic why he sucks. The bottom line is he doesn't love the game.
He doesn't love the game.
Thank you. I'm glad you said that. I fucking hate Cutler because I feel like he doesn't give a fuck.
He doesn't love the game the way he should. In order to prepare the way you need to prepare as a quarterback for the NFL games week after week, you have to love it more than life itself. To get in that film room and prepare properly, physically and mentally, you have to be a total football geek.
Yeah.
And he's not a total football geek.
Well,
that's a problem.
I agree with you. All right, I'll let you go because you're running a care clinic there, and I know you have to get back. Johnny Football, how long do you think it takes before Johnny Manziel at a private party or club in Cleveland accidentally, with his stupid little pussy iPhone, accidentally tapes one of the black defensive backs cheating on his wife and gets his ass kicked?
Ooh, that is the question I've been waiting for.
Well, I think Johnny proved this year that he is what we thought he was, and that's too bad for the Browns. A party boy, like a kid who doesn't take it seriously like he should. The word on the street is that their owner, Jimmy Haslam, was the one who made that pick, the trade and the pick of Johnny Manziel. The coaching staff didn't want him, but the owner did. Yes. And so now they're stuck with a guy who, like Jay Cutler, doesn't put the time in. Doesn't care enough about football.
It was great. It was great that first time that he went out to like a club with some of the guys and a couple of the brothers in the defensive. In the secondary came and said, "Listen, check your iPhone at the door, motherfucker.
Yeah.
We don't need any. We're married. We don't need any pictures of us dancing."
Well, the whole that whole team, all the vets on that team, said that he wasted his rookie year. That he and Justin Gilbert, their number 9 pick overall cornerback, completely wasted their rookie year.
Wow.
And I agree with him. I mean, he's not ever going to be good unless something drastic changes.
Yeah, well, that's something I agree with you there. Listen, John, come by anytime. I hope you can come by in person one day.
I would love to, man. Once this off season rolls around, I'll be over. I'll be around.
Yeah, come by.
Just let me know. I would love to anytime.
Well, I miss you, brother. You were a great partner, and
it was the greatest gig ever.
Yeah, it was fun.
It lasted.
It was fun. Tell the family I said hi and get that kid some medical attention.
I will.
All right, love
Thanks,
you, John.
Artie.
That's the great John Ritchie, my old partner at DirecTV, still working over there. He's a good man. I like busting his chops. He's a good man. We're gonna wrap this up. We're well over an hour here, but we got some staff has to get home here. We're in the middle of a blizzard. We're in the eye of it, so we're gonna make this one a little shorter than the others. But we're gonna try to be here tomorrow without question, right? I mean, Dan, we can get on the air tomorrow, right?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
What you're basically saying is you don't want to take any chances with the fact that Chris might have to stay here. You want him out.
Yeah. Well, listen. I mean,
we got enough food for 2, Chris.
I see some sandwiches in there. I might have to take a bite.
You can take them to go, but there's some issues there. No, I'm kidding. I'm just saying that I don't want people to get stuck anywhere, especially in my apartment. But listen, I'm closing the door to my bathroom, so you guys are sharing it. No, Chris, your plugs, buddy. What are they?
First of all, I want to say thank you to everybody reaching out on Twitter. I gotta do that at Cotton215. I'm having fun. It's a good time on Twitter. I don't know if you've been following Artie, but I've now created a list in a group called my White Women Ambassadors.
No, I have not seen that.
They are my key to the white women. I get my knowledge from them now, and I also have.
Sure, Mrs. Cotton loves hearing that.
Oh, listen, good times. Also, I have my Black women ambassadors who just started. I have 2 of those. I'm looking for my Latin and my Asians and Indians. Come out, women.
This is what you're plugging? Any club dates?
I don't know. Maybe I'm at a club. No. Other than that, at Cotton215, CenterCityComedy.com. Hopefully, Center City Comedy Podcast. Hopefully, that'll be on the network soon. We'll talk after the thing, after everything. But other than that, and I'll be at LOL tonight, LOL Comedy Club. If it's still open, I'll be there tonight and tomorrow.
I'll be at OMG's. The comedy clubs are now named after shit people say in text. All right, thanks, brother. And of course, Artie Quitter. Tell your friend, artiequitter.com. And Filato, thank you. And I doubt Matarese will be here tomorrow, but it might just be me and Danny tomorrow because it's going to be 18 feet of snow. But on some level, we'll be here.
If I can get here, I'll be here. I'm fucking crazy.
Not necessary. The Artie Quitter podcast back tomorrow.